Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. A quick note to all of my viewers. I'm supposed to be going into labor literally any day now, so if you do not hear from me, that is why. As you can see, I've already preemptively I've taken out pretty much all of my jewelry. No necklaces aside from the one. No nose ring, no belly ring. Took it all off just in case the doctor's like any moment now, really. So yeah, if you don't hear from me for a little bit, that is why. Please don't abandon me. Um, I'm hopefully gonna get some more content next week. Now, today we're going to be talking about A Curse of Roses by Diana Pinguicha. She's a Portuguese author. This is a own voices novel, and it does take place in ancient Portugal. Not ancient, but you know what I mean. I Renaissance Portugal. Let's go with that time frame. It is based in part on historical fiction, on history rather, as well as Portuguese mythology and folklore, and I think that that's really interesting. I don't think we see a lot of that in literature a lot. I'm sure there are definitely a bunch of Portuguese authors, but I haven't come across many in the young adult section, especially dealing with, Portugal's own history and I'm trying to phrase this properly. History and folklore. I don't think that that's something that we've seen before. I personally haven't. If you have, please drop your recommendations below. So I think it's really cool. That's the word we're going to go with. That Diana has decided to tell an own voices story. It is female romance. To draw readers in and really express herself. And you really do get to see a lot of expression of her own personality and her own personal experiences within the novel. I do want to say, on that note, please read the note from the author. For my copy, I had an advanced reader's copy. It was at the beginning of the book. I really do think it sets the stage for the entire narrative, because you're getting to see how her personal experiences, her family dynamics have reflected into the story, as well as her religious beliefs. Portugal is known to be very, as with Spain, they are known to be very Catholic. Nothing wrong with being Catholic. I was raised Catholic, not Catholic. I am Wiccan, but I was raised Catholic, And you really do get to see that struggle. By the way, I do think the new Pope is kind of great. Almost makes me want to convert, but not quite. I think a lot of people who are in the LGBTQ community have a lot of they have a hard time reconciling their faith with their sexuality. And it's really a shame, And I think it's encouraging to see this story play out, because between Fatian and Isabel, a romance does develop. And they're both, especially Isabel, she's incredibly devout. And for most of her life, she has thought of her gift because she has this magical gift. She can turn food into flowers, right? Now, to her, it's a curse. She's, sorry. Oh my goodness. I came out of nowhere. She has this gift where she can turn food into flowers, and to her it's a curse because, you know, she's engaged to the King of Portugal, and Portugal right now during this time period in the novel is going through a famine. And she's like, well, what a waste, you know? What a waste. I can turn all this food into flowers and it's just going to waste. People are starving. So she takes to starving herself, literally. And she calls it a curse. And then the one thing I take from Fatian is Fatian's constantly saying, stop calling it a curse. It's a gift. You can turn food into flowers, but you can also turn flowers into food. You can feed your people. And it never dawned on Isabel to even consider that route. And I think that that's really what sells the novel. You know, her curse is a symbol of her sexuality. You know, she thinks, oh, it's a curse, it's a curse. No one's ever going to accept me. No one's ever going to love me. I'm just going to die. They're going to burn me at the stake. She has this dislike of herself. And it takes Fatian to be like, no, stop hating yourself. You are a good person. You want to do good things. Stop it. Every part of yourself deserves to be loved and cherished. Every aspect of yourself deserves to be loved and cherished. I think that that's really empowering. Again, a lot of people have a lot of struggle with their reconciling, you know, what their faith teaches them, as well as their sexuality. You know, it's very tough. I think what Fatian does, there's a quote in the book. I had it written down. Let's see if I can remember it by heart. I'm going to paraphrase. I'll paraphrase. She says, you know, Isabel's like, you don't think pain brings you closer to God? And Fatian's like, no. I think God only cares if you're a good person. She's like, and mind, Fatian is as devout and religious as her. She's like, this is just teachings of men. They are being distorted. And you know, I really do agree with that sentiment. I really do. I know. Heresy, right? I think it's just empowering, and I think it's worth thinking about, you know? And I agree with her. I think God only does care if you are a good person. I think we as a society pass too much judgment based on our faith that we forget that the only one who is allowed to pass judgment is God. You know, like, I don't think we should enforce our religious beliefs on other people. I think religion is a deeply personal thing between that person and their God. If you want to congregate and share your beliefs with others like you, no one is stopping you. But I feel like religion nowadays is used so much to pass judgment and to spread hate that we lose sight of God's teachings. And this is why I'm not religious. And I like that Fatian kind of captures my sentiments. And probably why I was drawn to her as a character, because I found, you should have seen me. I'm reading this book. Oh, I love this quote. I love this quote. Oh, there are like so many. I owned a physical copy of the book. I had an ARC from a publisher. If I had a physical copy of the book, I would have just like tabbed here, tab there, tab there. I would have saved them all because it's full of so many memorable quotes that I think are empowering, that I think lend the story to be engaging, religious or not. Again, I'm not a religious person. I like to consider myself more of a spiritual, again, I'm Wiccan, more of a spiritual person, but I do like the sentiments that are expressed in the novel. I found them to be very compelling and engaging and thoughtful, you know? I did find them in the end to be incredibly thoughtful. So yeah, I liked it. I will say that as the pacing does start to drag in the middle, you know, you have a really high tension, well-paced opening, well-paced ending, especially that last quarter is like bam, 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 bam. But I think it falters near the center as she's struggling to reconcile her sexual identity with her faith, and that's not a bad thing. You are getting to, it is making her more relatable. It is connecting to the reader, especially anyone who is in her position. You're seeing her character growth in the middle. That's like, that whole middle chunk of the book is just character development and her exploring herself, her trying to reconcile who she is with what she's grown up to know, you know? So, yeah. Overall, though, I did think it was a really well-written book. I thought it was very thoughtful, very profound, very compelling, unique as well. So I'd have to give A Curse of Roses 4 out of 5 stars. Now, if you want to purchase the book, please remember to purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. You can go on bookshop.org. I will include a link in the description below. They will look up an independently owned bookstore near you, and if it's too far for you, just select that as your bookstore, purchase on bookshop.org, and it'll tell you how much they're going to send of your sales to that independently owned bookstore. Now, just because there's no Barnes & Noble Books A Million in your neighborhood, they still ship across the country. So please support your booksellers, support your bookstores. All I ask is that when it comes to books, I feel like we just buy everything off Amazon, you know, and it's just like Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more money. I'm guilty of this myself. I'm trying very hard to shop more on Etsy and more, you know, local stores. But I think when it comes to books, we should support our bookstores. So I make it a habit of never, ever, ever shopping for books on Amazon. I always go through like Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Bookshop.org, IndieBound, Book Depository, and Better World Books. Oh, and Thrift Books and Book Outlet. So there you go. I just named 7. You can check out any of the 7 websites, and they're all amazing. And they're all books. And, you know, you can also you can also purchase directly from the publisher as well. So, on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Please don't forget to share with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on buymeacoffee.com. There is a link in the description below, or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading, and wish me luck on my labor.